welcome to Source Snack Break. I'm Ren with Source. Today is Tuesday, August 4th. Before we get started, I'll explain a couple things about the webinar tool. So you're all muted automatically, but you do have access to the live chat there on the right. So you can pop in your favorite emoji to try it out. You can also use chat to ask questions or comment, and we'll make sure we answer any questions you have, so bring it on. We love it. We're also going to send you a recording of the webinar after the presentation, or you can head to our events page to check it out. So today's guest, we have a very special guest, a twofer. It is Angelique and Kyle from Nossa Norman, aka No Design, and we are going to chat about how you designed our new library here in Portland. So when we get started, can each of you, we'll start with Kyle, how about, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to Portland and to found No?
Yeah, so I grew up in Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, and I sort of got into architecture via sailmaking, and that sailmaking led to project management led to design, build, construction, and then architecture school led into the profession.
Awesome.
We met at a design firm here in Portland, and it was
meant to be.
It was meant to be. And Angelique, what about you?
Yeah, so I was last night as we were putting this together, I was like, I've been doing interior design for 17 years.
Woohoo!
And yeah, half of that time has been here in Portland, which has been really great. My path was a little more linear. I went to school for interior design, graduated, started with a firm, and I've luckily found my way through a lot of really amazing firms. And the past 3 years, I've been out on my own. Well, not on my own, but about 3 years ago, I started my own firm. And it's funny because when Kyle and I were working together at the same office, we worked on one project together over those 3 years. And when we were at different firms, we started looking over at each, like, oh, what are you working on? And we were starting to collaborate on things. And about a year after doing that, we were like, we should do this all the time. So we're Nossa Norman Design Studio. It's at the core, it's the two of us, but we do have some fellow collaborators that help us out on projects when we need more brain power.
Sweet. And so the reason we're chatting is because you were some of our super original fans.
Yes.
And you were members of Crowdsourced when we were Crowdsourced back in the day. And so we decided to expand our library downstairs, and Nicole, our founder, approached you. Can you chat a little bit about, I love that you included the email subject line at the top here. But yeah, can you chat a little bit about how this process started?
Yeah, like you said, it was just this sort of random email about, so our space and Crowdsource was rapidly growing. You needed space for people and for products, and you were also evolving to all of these tools that you're bringing to designers. So it was really great that you were able to stay in the Piddock block because it's a really incredible building. You've got all this great light, but you came to us with a rough sketch of what you thought this space could be, and then a box of every cool textural white material in your library. So you had a very strong idea about what you wanted, which as designers kind of helps us get to like kind of cut to the chase a little quicker.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to double your space. The image on the left-hand side is the space that has recently been renovated. It needed a lot of TLC, but in addition to...
that green carpet was just amazing.
I know, it's the wrong kind of green. In addition to like making sure that it was a clean space, we were also thinking about sustainability, you know, how flexible does the space need to be for the variety of products that they're going to have. I think what was really cool was the brand color was described as texture. Which is really important for a space that is going to have a multitude of materials. And we also, you know, as designers, and you've been in the design world, the goal is to have this beautiful design space, but you also need a messy space too for returns, putting palettes together. So that was another key element of the material, but we loved all the ideas that Nicole and company brought to the table.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to send it over to Kyle. Can you talk a little bit about how you all developed the concept for this space? Because I remember when you presented this to us, you had a very strong vision of sort of your precedents and what you were looking at.
Yeah, so at the heart of our practice, we really like to look at projects and focus in on the DNA of different spaces and really look at it abstractly. This is one of the slides from our deck, simple and elegant, talking about, light, focusing light, wayfinding, directionality, textures, and then also, niches and curiosity in the space. We really like the image of this like small match that's got this really great carved cityscape on it, and then also the image of the hallway with the lights sort of like running down, making sort of like a longer space out of the space. When we first walked into the Piddock block space, it was pretty dingy, but had great natural light. And that's one of the great things about those historic buildings is that they do have great natural light, and the width of the floor space, and most of the suites are just deep enough to provide natural light into the space.
Awesome. And this is the one I remember especially, is we started to chat about like, what is the typology of a library, and what's the typology of a materials library, and what is the typology of a new type of materials library that is shared. Like there was a lot of typologies like coming together. And you had a lot to say about how to mix those in an elegant way. Can you chat a little bit about that and what your thinking was and how to approach this typology sort of with the old school and new school in mind?
Certainly. So innovation was the first word that sort of came to our mind when we thought of what is a new library. And people have been designing libraries for centuries.
I think the Romans may have done it.
Yeah, beginning of time, right? Ever since information started like building up. And we were very inspired by a lot of these images, but the one was really the soccer ball, and how the soccer ball, for many years had always been this sort of leather, skinned object. And then a few World Cups back, Adidas, I believe, redesigned the soccer ball and came up with this new innovative soccer ball. And I'm sure it's evolved over time, but we wanted to think of the library as something that's new and innovative and that is simple and clean, but at the same time has all of these different materials and textures that get tucked away or hidden away, but are, can be easily accessed.
Like, it's a library when you walk in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like we're not trying to conceal the fact.
Yeah, it's like that soccer ball. It's a soccer ball, but it has that visual interest, and you're like, oh, this is exciting and new. Like that was the vibe we were going for.
Yeah, you want to like study it and turn it around.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then can you talk a little bit about the people and the interaction between the people and the stuff in the building? Like that's the big part, is like it has to hold a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so the people and the product is where it sort of gets intertwined together. And so that's what the materials library is, and will always be, is people and product, whether it's the reps, the designers, the people who are working at Source and organizing it. But really, we were wanting to put that first and foremost in the design. And so we put this slide as the last slide, and it was sort of the introduction into the design concepts and the sort of three layouts that we looked at. And then also fun, playful, artful.
Absolutely. I mean, our jobs are tough, whether you're working from home or working from an office. If you can't have fun and if you can't be learning while you're working on these projects, and so much of what I feel like maybe why Nicole started this is everything is going so fast. You need to be able to have access to knowledge really quickly. So we want people to have fun when they're going through all the materials in this space as well.
Right. That sort of excitement of the hunt a little bit. Like there's always something fun about, like, finding something in the library. They're like, this is awesome. And I feel like we wanted to like keep that sort of essence.
Yeah, I think I
but
pulled
there's
you away
fun.
from a lot of like tasks that you were working on. Be like, oh, Ren, tell me
I
about
know.
this green moss or something.
Yes, exactly.
So
And
it's
that,
really great.
that feeling really helps with your design process because it can trigger so many other thoughts. And so we had to keep that sort of feel of discovery alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So can you talk about how you developed a couple concepts here and what they were based on and how we moved forward?
Yeah, so we developed 3 test fits. The first one is very close to the sketch that the source team brought to us, which is similar to what you had on the 7th floor, where you've got sort of these U-shaped spaces along the window wall, which is great for creating these little nooks, but it's not so great for letting a lot of the light come through. And also, you know, you get that awkward corner of where the 2 material stacks meet together, and it's just sort of tricky. So the first step we did was we pulled the stacks from the wall, to create a little bit more circulation opportunities and B, to let more light into the space. And then we were thinking about, well, you know, you want to see this product immediately when you walk in, like right through the door. So we put the stacks at an angle, and you guys were so in love with this concept. So we were like, yes, this is really gonna put the product right where everyone wants to see it. Because I mean, what's great is you can get stuff online, you know, you can connect it through your reps, but you always want to be able to see something first and get excited about this like organized space. There's no FOMO when you walk in because everything's there.
Exactly. Well, and it also kind of combines the sort of element of a little bit of retail, right? Like you want to feel like you're going someplace cool, that you feel relaxed there, but it's also sort of visually exciting to help your design process sort of start.
Yeah, it's the little right amount of tension
yes.
when you walk in.
Yeah.
Good tension.
Good tension.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So this is what we ended up going with. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and as we were getting to the nuts and bolts of how much space you needed, we convinced you to take a little bit more space in that light well, which sort of becomes that messy space, but then also brings this really great light into this hospitality kitchenette area, which was the darkest compared to the rest of the space.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So here's some fun SketchUp renderings. Can you talk a little bit about how you sort of approached there's a good tension here between getting a lot of material in here, but also displaying it and having a place for designers, like those messy spaces for designers to sort of pull palettes, work together, collaborate. Can you talk about how you sort of balance those two?
Yeah, so looking at the bird's eye view, you would walk in on the left-hand side, that's where the entry would be. You'd be sort of presented with the reception desk. And then the idea is just to make it completely open. And in the middle of the space, we wanted to have layout tables for designers, and then a division between the stacks where the materials library are, and make that a display area. Mm-hmm. So the bottom right perspective is looking at the layout tables for the designers, and then a potential future display area for vendors with the stacks beyond that are in the area with most natural light. Mm-hmm. As you sort of meander through the space, the idea is that you sort of pass through this threshold of sort of a check-in area, check-out area, and because it is always sort of open space, we just didn't want people who are from anywhere to just sort of walk in, but so making that threshold, and then as you sort of meander around the stacks, that we did make little layout spaces on the stacks that are by the window. So if people wanted to do a small palette, snap a photo of it, they could do that as well and really look at the materials. Yeah,
and whip out your laptop. There's some really cool like little power things, little charger things that we got from Steelcase. That the idea was you could go if you did need to like really quickly look something up. If because a lot, like I'm sort of the designer that goes in and I just want to hone in, and I'll come and grab you like when I know exactly what I want. So I'm very much a more sort of self-serve type of customer versus someone who comes in and they want to be sort of carried along a little bit more through the process.
Can you talk a little bit about the various sort of program aspects of the space and what it was like to design a space that you yourself were going to use? Like, you are a user of this space, so you intimately know how a designer interacts with this space, and you understand the various parts of the library. And I think sometimes not all designers use every part of the library. Can you talk a little bit about like the varying program aspects that we were trying to get into this space while also allowing designers to have space to work?
Yeah, if you go to the next slide, there's a really great diagram that your team put together. And kind of building on what Kyle said, the sort of that middle light brown spine of those layout tables is really more about where you're working after you've gone and discovered the product, which is in the red sort of stacks. Because there's so many different types of materials, you guys have architectural materials as well. We really wanted to dissect how we could break down this shelving system, because what was really cool is you were going to even get taller shelvings than what you had before. And we just really went crazy. Like, it could be a drawer, it could be this, it could be a shelf, it could be da-da-da-da-da. So we were able to give you those options, and then your team was able to say, well, we need X of these, Y of these, and they need to be really bomber too, because you put a lot of bricks on a shelf, and you don't want it to sag. The worst thing that could happen is you like fill it up with all the fabrics and then the drawer doesn't work.
Right.
So the shelving is designed in the way that you could, with the right tools, it'll be flexible for crowdsourcing in the future as you start to see, we need more carpet books or we need less of this. So that was really cool. And what we did, I think you actually came up with another one that's not on here of like the KS option.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we made our own. You, of course, in a classic designer style, you gave us like literally 10 options, and we came up with another option because we're all designers. I love it. Yes, we totally did that.
Yeah, and it was really great. And that's a really cool point, is that there's not a lot of instances where when you are designing a commercial project that it's a space that you're going to get to use a lot on your own. So we were really honored that we were asked to be a design partner on the project. It was super fun. And then also too, you're highlighting all of the manufacturers that were able to donate materials to the space. So like, that's even really cool too. Like, oh, you mean we can have this or we can have this? So we were kind of spoiled. Project. But,
well, it was one of the things we wanted to do with this space was to give designers a place to see things installed that they normally wouldn't see installed, because sometimes it's easier to spec a new product if you can see how it's been used before. So that's one thing that I really liked, is how the royal we combined all these materials in a way to sort of show off some cool new stuff, but also in a way that allowed the materials on the shelves to still be the star, right? And so can you talk a little bit about developing a material palette when you have a room full of color and texture and you got to cover the room in something?
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, the material palette started out as completely white. It was sort of like a sterile, clean room environment. And as we went through the design process, we started slipping in a little bit of texture here and a little bit of acoustic material and pinup board material. And, it sort of evolved. We wanted to delineate the meeting rooms as being these really elevated meeting rooms, something that you would see in like a high-end co-work space. And, so we chose to go with a lighter floor covering.
Which never happens.
So
thank you.
It's like the farthest away from the hospitality area where you get your coffee. So
But it's all solution dyed carpet. you know, we were thinking about that as we went through the materials palette. Around the stacks, it is very neutral, light grays and whites, so that the materials are really the star of the show. But when you do get into those hospitality spaces, you know, Source introduced us to this second story product, the Sankofa recycled wood that you'll see in the hospitality space. So you get those touches of warmth and of being like, okay, I can actually pull something off the shelf when I'm here. And
it's not too precious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it is precious, but you know, not to where you can't use it. But I think the sort of the selling point for doing the light colored carpet in the offices, it's carpet tile. You're not going to be moving these big library shelves away. You're going to move a conference table, and if something happens, you know, that's life. We design these spaces, and people live with it, and you've got to keep maintaining it.
I love it. So here's a couple little sneak peek photos of what it's looking like. I'm really excited about this space and to eventually leave our homes to go see it. Yeah. And I will say, designers, if you're interested, you can visit the library. We have a whole page here on how you can do that. We are asking everyone to book a time, and you can say if you want one of our shining faces to be there with you, or you can do like Angelique is and like do your own thing. Yeah, she knows what she wants, but you know, we really try to curate the experience of our designers however you want to experience the library. We're here for you. So definitely check that out if you would like to visit the new library. It is open. It is in the same building, but on floor 5. So that's exciting. But yeah, anything else you'd like to add about designing for designers or designing a new typology? Is there anything we didn't cover?
I don't think so. Maybe in like 5 minutes after we get out of the call, it'd be like, oh, rats. But I think what's really cool is you're willing to take risks on some of the design ideas that we had, like these sort of triangular layout spaces within the stacks. Those came out really, really cool.
They did.
And, you know, we're excited to see the continuing evolution of the space as people start to use it more. So thank you for including us in your snack break.
Oh, of course. Oh my gosh. And designers, if you'd like to sign up for another snack break, you can smash that register now button. Tomorrow, speaking of fancy conference rooms, we will be talking to Carvart and Rachel with Spec Systems about all the things that you can do with glass these days. So if you're interested in that, definitely sign up. But in the meantime, you guys, it was great chatting with you. It feels like so long ago that we were in the same room together, looking at cool moss.
It kind of looks like we're in the same room. Our backgrounds are very similar.
Yeah. Designers alike. We're all wearing black. We all have the same color background. We got this. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, it was great chatting with you, and I hope we can see each other again soon.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. See ya. Bye.